Yakovman, let me just remind you that the moment we finish this session, we have an amazing session about blockchain. This session ends the second day of the main plenary, and I want to call to the stage Yaakov Mendel, who is the co-founder of Pelesus and Pelegard, and he also works at the ICRC at the Tel Aviv University to open the Bitcoin and blockchain event. Yaakov, the stage is yours.
One. Oh, now it's working already. Okay, so now we will talk about blockchain in this session before you go to your weekend, flying back home. And one of the things that we are very interested today is, what is this blockchain now? We are hearing a lot about Bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, all these issues. So let me start giving you some important information which will help you to look about what we are going to deal today here on the stage. So first thing, blockchain is currently the most overheated technology ever. So if we had some time in the past that there was IoT, cybersecurity, no. Blockchain by far, far stronger today than everything else. Probably thanks to Bitcoin. But on the other end, we need to be also very careful. And I don't know how many of you were here during the marvelous presentation of Ilan, where he pointed out on us on the blockchain. Yes, blockchain is marvelous technology, but I'm hearing a lot of talks all around the world that blockchain is the cure for everything, including cybersecurity. No. Let me be very clear. Blockchain is not a magic word which solves all the problems. Yes, blockchain has a lot of advantages. Blockchain can solve specific problems, but can also open other problems, new cybersecurity threats. If you do not consider correctly and build as needed smart contracts, better not to start dealing with that at all. What I'm trying to tell you is today you will hear about blockchain, about cryptocurrencies, about banking. Think carefully. What is the value of integrating blockchain in your business, in your research, in the future? We identify here at the Tel Aviv University some areas that blockchain will be totally revolution. For example, the healthcare system. The healthcare system needs blockchain. Government's system needs blockchain. Why? We need transparency. We need availability. We need data integrity. Blockchain provides all of that to us. And this will also reduce, in different government, some corruption, because it will be difficult to make changes into the data after it has been generated. So, starting with this, let's start with the first speaker. And now this is a little bit interesting how to introduce you. Should I say my previous boss? Yes, he was my previous boss at Intel. So let me introduce you, please, to Rick Echevarria, the Vice President of Software and Service Group, General Manager of Platform Security Division at Intel Corporation. Welcome to stage, Rick.
Thank you. I can say Jacob was the easiest person I ever had to manage. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Tel Aviv University and CYBERWEEK, for the opportunity to talk about this very important topic, blockchain. Blockchain, as you heard from Jacob, is one of the most talked about workloads in the industry due to its potential for transformation. And about this time last year, Gartner published a report that talked about the derived business value for blockchain. And they estimated that by 2030, we would see about $3.1 trillion in blockchain value. And Gartner identified 3 drivers for that value. The first, cost efficiencies. Second, the redistribution of markets through creative destruction. And third, the creation of new business models. And so what I'd like to do now is show you how, a year later, we are seeing the indication that some of those value drivers may become real, and actually describe that to you. An example of the first value driver, efficiencies, is the fact that on May of 2018, we had HSBC and ING manage a transaction. It was actually soybeans to Malaysia. And that transaction, which was recorded using R3 as the platform, was done in a day, 24 hours, a process that usually takes about 10 days. That's an example of the first value driver, efficiencies. We believe we're going to see creative disruption in these new industry consortiums that are coming together. For example, SAP's. SAP has about 65 members in a co-innovation program that they recently announced to define new business models in a number of different areas: pharmaceuticals, supply chain, logistics, and several different others. And the third value driver, which is around new business models, you are already seeing that in the insurance industry, where last fall, B3I had about 38 members running on a reinsurance prototype that resulted in a number of new found efficiencies for their business. Intel's strategy is to enable these opportunities for business transformation by shortening the time to value from blockchain-based solutions and technologies. That's what drives us. And over the last year, we have been doing our part to be a catalyst for blockchain. We've been helping to accelerate the momentum through our engagements across the ecosystem, including helping many of our customers build hardware platforms that can support blockchain models. We've been doing a lot of work in collaborations. We've expanded our collaborations with Microsoft, companies like R3, SAP, and many others. And of course, as a technology company, we've been hard at work developing technologies and technology innovation for blockchain. And I'm going to describe that now. So I want to build on that point and talk about the technology work that we've been doing. And that work spans 3 areas: silicon, software, and standards. Starting with the silicon, we continue to look at blockchain as a workload and build silicon capabilities that can take advantage and enhance the workload, like our Xeon processors and technologies like SGX, our software guard extensions. We're also doing quite a bit of work on the software side and trying to enable adoption, utilizing over 20 years of open source know-how with our work around Hyperledger Sawtooth, which is a distributed ledger technology, as well as private data objects. And third, we are partnering with the industry to ensure that specifications around the area of blockchain yield the promise of the future where you can take advantage of this disintermediation using more efficient computing. And we're doing that through our work in Hyperledger, as well as the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So as you can see, Intel as a company is committed to blockchain through the work we're doing in silicon innovation, the work we're doing in software innovation, and then our participation in standards. And this level of engagement with the blockchain industry has given us some unique insights. And it's also helped us to understand what are some of the challenges that we're facing and the industry is facing when it comes to the adoption and implementation of blockchain. And there are 3 major challenges as we see it. We see scalability, we see security, and we see privacy as opportunities for us to help the industry. And I'm going to describe what these challenges look like and who's starting to solve them, starting with scalability. As many of you who've been developing on blockchains know, transaction throughput on blockchains today is really not sufficient given the requirements of the business and the speed of the business. We are working on alternative consensus mechanisms. That's one way in which we can address this issue of throughput. The other way is by doing off-chain processing, which I'm going to touch on in a few minutes. That's, again, another opportunity to address scalability. An example of how scalability is being addressed is the work that we've done with Microsoft and Azure. Microsoft unveiled its COCO framework and recently did a live demonstration, achieving approximately 1,700 transactions per second using a private version of an Ethereum blockchain. That compares to about 13 transactions per second, which you see on the public blockchain. So you can do the math fairly quickly. It's about a 100x factor. And Azure achieved this throughput by integrating with the hardware capabilities that we've built on the platform to deliver a more efficient algorithm, more efficient consensus algorithm. Okay, that's an example of how we can start solving the problems with scalability. Second is the security challenge. The structure of blockchain with decentralization, immutability, and then of course the cryptographically based authentication provides some opportunities from a security point of view. But private keys need to be kept secure. Many of you know that. That's some of the issues that we've seen in the industry. The data, both at rest and in use, also has to be kept secure. And transaction processing has to be kept secure. An example of how this is being addressed comes from Chain. Chain announced their cryptographically secure cloud service called Sequence. And the keys that are used to sign blockchain transactions are stored using hardware-based capabilities, including hardware-based enclaves. That allows the users, services, or organizations that have the right level of authority to access the assets, the accounts, and the functionality of this platform. The third challenge, something I talked about yesterday, is privacy. Data on the blockchain is accessible to almost anyone, and that makes the storage of sensitive data nearly impossible. So that's something that we have to address. This ends up restricting the number of usages and practical applications that can be applied to blockchain. The challenge here is that we have to keep the transactional data available, but we have to, at the same time, keep that privacy-sensitive data private. One of the challenges that we have to address. So R3 announced the availability of Corda last year, which is a distributed ledger platform that uses hardware capabilities like SGX to provide additional layers of privacy. When institutions, in the case of R3, want to prove the provenance of an asset without revealing the sensitive data, our silicon enables R3 to process the encrypted data without it being exposed in decrypted form. The three examples that I highlighted, Azure, Chain, and R3, are key collaborations for us. They inform our roadmaps. They influence our investments. But we also have a number of different collaborations across the industry, as you can see here on the screen. And one collaboration that I'd like to highlight is the work that we've done with the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange in conjunction with the Floor and Accenture, a collaboration that was announced about a month ago. Okay? The Tel Aviv Stock Exchange announced a proof of concept for securities lending. And this is a platform that's available to address and to support Israel's largest financial instruments. The purpose of this project, as we started it, is to create one central platform to transform security lendings in this market, enabling direct lending across all major financial institutions. This platform is built on two of the technologies that I highlighted earlier. The distributed ledger technology that we've built, Hyperledger Sawtooth, as well as our silicon technology, XCS. So it's a great example of collaboration. Now, as we reflect on the last year, we've come a long way in our technology work, but we're far from done. Looking forward, we still see plenty of opportunity for technology innovation in blockchain. That's why you're here, and that's why the industry is investing so much in it. And I'm going to describe one of those innovations, what we call off-chain computing. Off-chain transactions execute off the blockchain, running in parallel to the main blockchain. And there are a number of different benefits from off-chain transactions. The first one is that they can be executed in real time versus transactions on-chain. And what that allows us to do is to increase throughput. These transactions usually do not have a transaction fee because they're executed off the main blockchain. And off-chain transactions may offer more security and privacy because the details of the transaction itself are not broadcasted publicly. Developers are exploring off-chain computing as a means to address the security, the scalability, and the privacy issues that I highlighted earlier, especially for something that Jacob mentioned earlier, smart contracts. And that's one of the areas that we are collaborating in. Smart contracts that can be run simultaneously on multiple machines is one of the benefits of doing them off-chain. Again, accelerating throughput. And smart contracts that execute inside of secure enclaves enable us to better protect keys and protect data. So that's really what's behind our interest in smart contracts. And yesterday, I announced a number of collaborations. Today's no different. One of the innovation partners in this area of off-chain computing for us is Enigma. Intel and Enigma have announced a collaboration to identify and address a number of different use cases to help solve some significant industry challenges, including those related to areas like identity and healthcare. Enigma is using our technology, including Intel SGX, in their privacy protocol. This allows enhancements for data privacy and protection. And Enigma smart contracts are kept and work inside of hardware-based enclaves, adding security, while still allowing computations on privacy-sensitive data. We expect the collaboration with Enigma to bring to public ledgers and many other ledgers the enhanced privacy and security that we deliver today with private blockchains. That's our intent in this collaboration with Enigma. So let me close this. We continue to look forward to working with the industry to enable transformation and to deliver value for businesses and for individuals by shortening the time to value that we're all going to get from deployment of blockchain-based solutions. We are committed to accelerating blockchain value. We are innovating, as you saw, in silicon, in software, and in standards. And we are collaborating broadly. And I want to call out again our work with Enigma, our work with the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, our work with Accenture, as examples of these collaborations, so that we can unleash the potential of blockchain for the transaction efficiencies, the creative disruption, and the new business models that we're all going to create together. And with that, and on behalf of Intel, thank you for your time.